Thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you, Monica. Please give Monica a round of applause. We appreciate you so much. It's always a pleasure to be here, and we certainly appreciate the opportunity. Certainly being here today, we didn't mind breathing the rain because we need to be among friends and family, so we appreciate the opportunity to be here. And for me, of course, today is very, very significant for a variety of different reasons. But one of the things that I have not mentioned publicly is that my family, we just discovered that we were involved in the effort to desegregate Clarendon County Public Schools in South Carolina, Briggs versus Elliott, which became the first of 5 lawsuits that led up to Brown versus Board of Education. We just recently found that out. And so we are most excited to be here today to publicly articulate that. We're also excited to be here because we really believe that the relationship in terms of the black struggle and the struggle for socialism and the struggle to defeat capitalism truly does have an interconnectedness. The ability to be able to stand up for the oppressed and to stand down the issue of oppression. And I think that we need to celebrate the fact that we can come together and take public positions on these types of issues. Of course, as was articulated, we are from Baltimore, and we've gone around the country and we've told people that Baltimore is increasingly becoming the police brutality capital of this country. Last year, we had 15 police murders last year, and we refer to those murders as police terrorism. We're not concerned about terrorists across seas. We're concerned about taxpayers right here at home who are killing our children, our young men, at the taxpayers' expense. And so we began to organize around this crisis of police brutality. Of course, the most significant of those murders, although one life is too many, was the murder of Anthony Anderson. We talked about that before, the vicious and brutal murder of Anthony. He was at the corner of his childhood home where he grew up. The police officers came up behind him without warning, without a halt, without a please can we talk to you, hoisted him up in the air, slammed him on the head in the presence of his mother, his 2-year-old grandchild, his siblings, right there in the broad daylight. There were 20 witnesses out there. There was no question about what the police did. Already this year, there has been 1 police murder, and we've already been in contact with those particular people. But the reason why we mention that, and the reason why that is of great importance to us, is because we recognize that police brutality is essentially a symptom. And it's a symptom of a much larger issue that all of us are familiar with. And I could say all of us with a great level of certainty, because it's people of color that go through this crisis, but it's also poor people, and people on the lower economic echelon. We're cognizant of the fact that the same people who are being killed by the police are having recreation centers shut down in their neighborhoods, are having schools shut down in their neighborhoods, are having elected officials who are not responsive to their issues. We recognize that the same black folk that are catching hell in low to moderate income communities, there are also people in the LGBT community that are experiencing terrorism by the police. And so what we're going to do is we're going to commemorate the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., the struggle and the people that fought in that struggle, that international biracial movement. On May 12th, we're going to have a march from Baltimore City to Washington, D.C. And we're going to have people from all over the country come out to participate in this march. We're going to look at the workers' rights issues. We've been working with our Walmart people. In fact, we just attended the funeral of one of their co-founders just last week, because we recognize that in order for us to work together, we've got to fellowship together, and we've got to know one another. So we attended the funeral. But they've got a major crisis over there with our Walmart people. We just had a meeting the other day with another labor union, Unite Here, that is experiencing some issues in relationship to workers' rights. So we're going to work with the family of Alan Blueford out there in Oakland. We're scheduled to go out there at the beginning of next month. We're also going to work with the families of other police victims, brutality victims across the country, because again, we recognize the interconnectedness of this type of brutality. Washington, D.C. is launching a national lawsuit against school closing. And again, as we look at this issue of police brutality As we look at this issue of defeating capitalism and defeating poverty, we recognize the same cities are being disproportionately targeted by these type of crises. So, in Baltimore, we have approximately 11 schools closing. 11 schools that are closing in African-American, poor, low to moderate income neighborhoods. But I wish that Baltimore was just the only one. Unfortunately, this is happening all over the country. It's happening right here in New York, it's happening in Detroit, it's happening in Oakland, California, it's happening in local jurisdictions across the entire country. And as opposed to sitting down and sitting back and taking it, we're going to unite and we're going to fight back. And so what we're going to do in Baltimore is we're going to join a national moratorium against school closing. And this fight started with just one school. But what we are cognizant of the fact is that, again, the same neighborhoods are being disproportionately affected. We know that an injury to one is an injury to all, and that an injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So we're not going to be selfish and sectarian about one school being closed. We're going to be concerned about every single school being closed and every single child being displaced by these school closures. So we are joining this national struggle. And what we're going to ask that national struggle to do is to join with us on that march on May the 11th. Because we are cognizant of the fact that the same issues that are happening in D.C. are happening in Baltimore, they're happening in Oakland, they're happening in New York, they're happening in Chicago. Wherever there's a concentration of African Americans, lower moderate income people, Latino brothers and sisters, LGBTQ brothers and sisters. See, the thing is, we are all in this struggle together. They want us to think that we're disconnected, but there is more that unites us than divides. So we're going to come together on May 11th, and we're going to come together from throughout the country because we are cognizant of the fact that the only way that we can win is if we stand together. And it's critical for us to be very, very cognizant of that. One of the things that I wanted to say before we shut down is that not long ago we were in the city of Detroit. I was the King Day speaker there, and when we were in the city of Detroit, we were able to drive through some of the neighborhoods, and we were able to see single-family homes boarded up in the city of Detroit. One of the most historic cities in this country, single-family homes boarded up. Homes with land in the front and in the back. The type of home that you would want to potentially purchase for you and your family. But the economic crisis has hit the city of Detroit in a way that's unconscionable. Now, this is a city that is historic from the vantage point that this is the city where Dr. King gave the first version of the I Have a Dream speech. Prior to the March on Washington in 1963, the March for Jobs and Freedom that took place in the city of Detroit was the largest march that has ever taken place in the city of Detroit, in the United States, a civil rights march. But that city is being attacked by an economic crisis. But there again, if we get sectarian, we'll think it's just about the city of Detroit. We just got word that in 10 years, the mayor of Baltimore is indicating that our city will be taken over by the federal government in the same way that the city of Detroit is. But there are parts of Washington, D.C., 9 city agencies that are controlled by the federal government. So we've got to be cognizant of the beast that we're fighting against, and the beast that we are fighting against, the beast's name is capitalism. And we've got to come together, we've got to slam capitalism, and the only way that we can do that is to do that together. So I'd like to say, one of the things that we've got to be cognizant of is that when we stand here in 2013, this is a very, very significant year in the history of the struggle. And we'd like to think that this is a year to renew, to re-inspire, to recommit to the struggle. Sister Monica did an eloquent job in articulating the fact that this year is the 100th year birthday of Sister Rosa Parks. But it's also the 100th year anniversary of the death of Harriet Tubman. It's cognizant we need to be aware of the fact this is the 50th year anniversary of the March on Washington. But not just the March on Washington, it was the March on Washington for jobs and freedom. And we have to be cognizant of the fact that we need to articulate that. Because we need to articulate the ties between this black struggle and the ties between socialism and capitalism and fighting against this stuff. So it was the March for Jobs and Freedom. Not only was it the March for Jobs and Freedom, it's the 50th anniversary of the Children's Crusade. So significant times have taken place in this country. So we have a unique opportunity to rekindle the struggle that woke up this country, to revive this interest in the issue of race and the issue of class. And in this climate, when we deal with issues in relationship to marriage equality and issues in relationship to LGBTQ rights, we have to be cognizant of the fact that this is our opportunity to fight the issues that plague us together and to have a oneness and an open-mindedness that will take us in a direction of progress. And so I'm excited today to be here at Workers World whenever I have an opportunity to be here, because when I look out over this vast sea of diversity, I'm cognizant of the fact that this is the dream that Dr. King had for our entire nation. I'm cognizant of the fact when we look at the diversity of economic issues, when we look at the diversity of ethnicity, when we look at the commitment and the passion that we have to change this country, we know that we need each other. And we need each other's unity, we need our diversity, we need the differences that we all espouse. And so I'm excited to be here today. I appreciate the opportunity. Whenever you need me, I'm more than willing to come back. We can stand up for our political prisoners. I saw Sister Pan Africa, Ramona Africa in the back. We need to make sure that we form a united front to stand up for political prisoners. And so thank you so much. God bless you.